Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So you know, exits are to your rear down the hall. Jump into this. The first item is discussion of the 2023-24 budget. After the public hearing, the Board of Finance has asked that we reduce our budget by $200,000. So I could turn to Ms. Stricker first if you like, or Mr. Reese. Ms. Stricker, you could decide.
Okay, well, I think first I just want to kind of update the board members and some of the parents who weren't able to attend the public hearing on some of the comments, and I'm going to kind of echo some of my frustrations that it really kind of seemed to me there was an attitude in the room of us versus them, meaning parents and students versus the community, and a lot of questions were asked as far as what is the split here in town. And the town split is actually about 50% to 50%. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up. And there was some accusations that were made about the students not writing their own letters, which was just appalling to me, and misinformation in regard to our statistics on proficiency levels. Our schools are doing very well, especially coming out of COVID, that we have met and exceeded every goal. If people are looking for statistical information, they should go to EdSite. That is where all the information is. It is non-biased, as each district has to turn in their information for that. There was quite a few comments in regard to have we looked at each item in our budget, and have we actually looked at our budget. As I said at the very first meeting, since October, at the start of the budget, we have met on October 3rd, November 22nd, December 19th, January 10th, 11th, 13th, 17th, February 22nd, March 28th, April 18th, May 12th, June 15th, July 10th. We had another meeting in July, and we are here now as well, and we talked about it at the August meeting. We have looked over every item in the budget. Questions were asked about particular things. I really would encourage people to take some time and watch the minutes and watch some of the business and planning meetings that are available online. Our budget is out there. We do discuss it, and been trying to move forward. The accusation that the Board of Education plays war games and threatens cuts. When we were asked to bring forward $600,000 in cuts, those are real. And the reality is, it's real. $200,000 in our budget is a real number, and there's not fluff in this budget. That we don't do that. We start off with a zero operating budget, and we build from there every year. So we are going to have to look at programs and materials for the classrooms, and staffing as well. I could go on, but I think that I feel like I'm singing to the choir. Mr. Reese, would you like to update us on some of the budget things?
Well, I think right now the update is mostly about process, because so what happens next is the meeting next week, which will be the Sens a town meeting, which sends the budget to referendum, which is on 9/12, I believe. And then at 9/12, we will either have a positive referendum or a negative. After that, the board would vote on the final allocations of where the funds are, the spending plan. So, you know, we can talk about what would happen on 9/13 or whenever the board is able to vote. We could talk about that right now and talk about what the possibilities are. But it would be really not speculation, but kind of a planning in the event that. And it's not something we can do tonight. So, you know, we do have some positions we haven't filled. They're all important positions. You know, we certainly would try to look at that, try to look at capital, try to look at anything that potentially doesn't affect kids as too much. I think I would add to your comments that the $600,000 was a direct result of a direct request. You know, we are asked, please look at $600,000, tell us what that impact would be. We answered that question. And that's the first time in history I can remember, since I started here, that we've done that. And the first time somebody's asked us to do that. So, you know, I think that, to your point. So that's kind of where we are in terms of process. There's not really, you know, we can have a conversation, but there's not really a vote necessarily because you need the positive referendum to take your next vote as a board, is my understanding. Obviously, if you have a different one.
Mr. Reese, and I'm sure that, I know you brought this up at all the other meetings, but I'm going to say it again, that because the budget has not passed, we are living within the means of last year's budget and those line items. So as teachers, administrators, and things go back to their classrooms, some of the things that they put into this upcoming year's budget have not been purchased because we can't. And we have, you know, staffed correctly for the schools. If this next budget in September does not fail, it could be really devastating to programs, to teachers, to classrooms, and moving things around. This is not, we're not playing games. We have a school and it is our job by state regulations to provide the education for our students.
Yeah, we have essentially issued a soft freeze, meaning that if you don't need it, we're not going to purchase it until you need it. And you know, obviously we're in the beginning of the year, so you know, it will get very, very tight if we're still in this position in the next month. So to your point, you know, fully support your words around that this really, we need this 9/12 budget to pass. So, because we're in a very difficult place if it doesn't.
So, Mr. Reese, just so people have a good understanding in the public, what was the budget that the board brought forward the first time? The percentage? Do you remember the percentage?
So the Board of Education approved a 3.21%. The Board of Finance asked us to remove, I'm assuming you're going to ask the next question.
Yes.
The Board of Finance asked us to remove $75,000, and that percentage was 2.87. And that was the April decision. And then in July, earlier, in the hearing, there was the Board of Finance meeting, there was a conversation about $50,000, but last week that became $200,000. So the amount now is $275,000 decrease from the 3.21% we had.
Do you know by chance what the
approved.
percentage would be with that reduction? If not, don't worry about it. I mean, 1.97. If anybody was at the public hearing, well, the Board of Finance meeting, Ms. Thompson spoke from the audience about what surrounding towns percentage of increase are for boards of education. And even at 3.21, the thoughtfulness that this board and administrators did in trying to get it that low without hurting students and staff was pretty amazing compared to what's going on in inflation everywhere else. So to be asked to go to 1.97 is really unbelievable. I thought 2.87 would have been something. Did you want to say something? Oh, certainly. Go ahead, Kara.
Actually, Colchester just passed their budget too. So these are numbers, these are the school district budgets. I don't want to get anyone confused. These are not town budgets. And this is what I spoke as an individual on the July 19th meeting. Colchester just passed an increase of $1.95 million over their 23 fiscal year. So we're talking about our 24 fiscal year budget. East Lyme was a $3.8 million increase. East Hampton was $1.6 million. Haddam-Killingworth, which is Region 17, was $2.6 million. Portland is $900,000. Durham-Middlefield, which is Region 13, is a $1.5 million increase. Region 18, Lime-Old Lyme, is a $1 million increase. So they're asking us to go forward with a $400,000. It's by far the least in this area. It will be, in fact, $500,000 less than the nearest district.
So I think that's just important that the public understands that every town faces inflation just like we do. But if we don't invest in kids in the future, then we're going nowhere as a society.
Can you remind everybody the budget books are available in central office?
And the budget books are available in central office, if anybody is interested. So that's, I just wanted to, Ms. Stricker, Mr. Reese, and other people, if they want to weigh in, I'll give them the opportunity on the board. But those numbers are real, as Ms. Stricker said. $200,000 more is real numbers. Mr. Anderson, do you like to add anything? Ms. Garrity?
I spoke at the last meeting last week, and I echo everything that's been said here tonight, and also was very, very disappointed at the accusations and some of the comments that were leveled not only against the Board of Finance, but the Board of Ed. And it was surprising, it was shocking, and it was disappointing. And I believe that this board has done its due diligence in terms of creating a budget that is not only reasonable, but far more reasonable than surrounding districts. We should not put our children at risk.
Mr. Perry?
All set.
Laurel?
I'm all set, thanks.
Jim?
I think it's important to note a couple of things. First of all, almost all the negative comments that people have been discussing came from one individual who is well known to be pretty aggressive and.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll return back. So what the board will be doing in regards to an interim superintendent search is we're going to be posting this week, probably in the next, hopefully, day or two, for the acting superintendent position. Used to be interim, now it's acting. The closing for that will be September 1st. Oh, sorry, Brian. And the board will be looking to do interviews for that position on September 7th. And hopefully we'll have a special meeting on September 7th and hopefully shortly thereafter be able to appoint an acting superintendent. We'll probably discuss it in follow-up board meeting about the search process for a full replacing the superintendent. Right now, we're trying to be conscious of the budget and any additional costs that may come with that. but we know that that's still a top priority for the board. And I should have probably said before I prefaced this is most already heard that our current superintendent, Mr. Reese, has resigned, and his last official day is October 15th with us. So that's why we're pressing forward quickly to get somebody in place. So with that said, is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.